Hi, and welcome to those who are familiar and those who are curious. This is about my new book. Maybe this is in lieu of a book launch. Who knows? I have a new book and it's available from April 2022. It's called All the Rivers Come Together. It's a family history book, so it's subtitled Tracing Family. How would I describe it? It's a book containing over 40 stories. It spans from the present day, going all the way back to the early 1800s, exploring 5 generations of my family. So it follows people from their origins in Cornwall, other parts of England, Scotland, and Ireland on their way to Australia. This is all original research, meaning over the last 10 years and particularly over the last 9 months. So a lot of the stories here, not even my children know about yet. The stories put people in their historical context, and I have discovered extraordinary things in their lives. And through the stories, you will be able to see life from their perspective. This is the 5th of my family history books. There was a modest quest. They went to Australia, the search for Edward Lewis, no gold in Melbourne, and now all the rivers come together. Spare me a moment while I have to stop sharing. Clumsy, huh? Now I want to say something about the book. I want you to meet some people. They are family. Long time back, I went looking for them and I found them, or at least significant traces of them, enough to see. They're all gone now, so I brought them back, what I could find. There's a story about my mother, in fact, 2 stories, and a story about my uncle, the one that ended his own life. But the stories go all the way back to the early 1800s, 5 generations, to when all my family lived in the old world. Cornwall, other parts of England, Fife in Scotland, and Ireland. So this book includes how they got here, Australia. There may have been a little bit of attraction in it, but mostly they were pushed. 3 of them were rounded up and taken, convicts. Nowadays, would any of these episodes have occurred or led to the sentence of exile? No, but I don't argue. Everything is of its time, and new directions came of it. Pushed? The old world was creaking, compressing, collapsing, lunging forwards. For some people, it was breaking through. It was a new kind of world that was coming into being, and it was bountiful for some. But for others, it was dirty. For many, it was harsh, and for most, it was grinding. But that is not what I learned about. I learned about living in a new society that was still forming. I learned about radical changes from country to city, from traditional communities to crude, grasping new cities, from traditional occupations to new ways, where precedent was less of a guide. Sometimes I felt the striving was too hard and people wilted. Sometimes there was a whiff of victory or comfort or satisfaction. Often there was just dogged persistence. This is the substance of the stories. Amongst them, I felt the constancy of the urge to live and to live honourably. Occasionally it was conceit, but most often it seemed deeper. As a backdrop, there was the old world that ground on, swallowing up those who did not, could not, or would not keep up. and which churned out the steady message of self-justification and glory. We were the discards of the British Empire. There are love stories here. Deaths at a young age, deaths at an old age, businesses established and lost, children who had to change course if they were to rise up out of failure, couples who had to uproot everything when they should have been giving up work to ponder their lives at leisure. In the midst of ordinary life, many people here had to navigate their way carefully in a changing colonial tumult so as not to be outcasts. There were always discrete truths that had to be deflected through camouflage. In the end, is it my family or everyone's? It is the one I have come to know. I can make sense of where the people fit. It has the themes I was born with: modesty of income, tidiness in habits, acceptance of responsibility, the acquisition of competence, the practice of independence, honesty and fairness. I think the ancestors will accept what I have done. Some of it, I suspect, has surprised them, for they thought the secrets had long been buried, or the necessary acts of heroism had long been forgotten. But there is something to their lives that is still substantial, more than crows keening in the wind. It is something like the spirit of humanity. Why did I call the book All the Rivers Come Together? When you look at a family tree chart, it can look like a tree, with the branches going continually upwards and multiplying. But you don't have to look at it that way. If you think of it as flowing downwards, which it is in time, then it starts to look like a river, with all the little streams feeding into the one. I started to think of myself as the person resulting from all the waters flowing in. Every little stream going back forever is a part of it. It's overwhelming at first, but it is true. So then you think, it has to be okay. And it gives me both a greater sense of balance and a greater sense of possibility. It means that unexpected things may emerge because all those different tendencies are latent in me. They all have the potential to be expressed. That way, the river flows into the sea. One moment, please. There we are. There are my books, my 5 family history books. And this is where you can find out more about them and purchase them. That would be lovely. Thank you.